Airbnb's near death. They printed cereal to survive in 2008. Three guys were so broke and desperate that they printed cereal boxes and sold them for $40 each to avoid bankruptcy. Today, that same company is worth $75 billion and has completely changed how the world travels. This is the story of Airbnb, a company rejected by every investor, mocked by hotels, and literally days away from shutting down before cereal boxes saved everything. October 2007. Brian and Joe were two unemployed designers in San Francisco who could unafford their $1,150 rent. They had $1,000 between them. A design conference was coming to town. Every hotel was fully booked. Brian had a crazy idea. Rent out air mattresses in their apartment to conference attendees. They bought 3 air mattresses, threw up a simple website called Airbed and Breakfast, and charged $80 per night, including breakfast. 3 people booked. They made $240 in their rent. Most people would have stopped there. But Brian and Joe saw something bigger. They brought in technical co-founder Nathan Bletcherchick and launched the full website in August. 2008, they got 2 bookings. 2 for 3 months. They made less than $200 per week. Investors thought they were insane. Why would anyone stay in a stranger's house? Hotels exist for a reason. They got rejected by every major venture capital firm in Silicon Valley. Later just flat out no. By November 2008, they'd made $5,000 total, burned through their savings, and were $30,000 in credit card debt. They were about to give up. Then Brian had another crazy idea. The 2008 presidential election was happening. Obama versus McCain. Political enthusiasm was at an all-time high. What if we made cereal boxes for the election? Not sponsoring cereal. It's actually designing and selling limited edition cereal. They created Obama OS, the breakfast of change, and Captain McCain S, a maverick in every box. Joe designed the boxes by hand. They found a printer in Berkeley who thought they were insane but agreed to help. They hand-assembled 1,000 boxes in their apartment. Price, $40 per box. They sold out. All 1,000 boxes. They made $30,000, enough to pay off debt and survive a few more months. But the cereal boxes did something more important. They caught Paul Graham's attention. Paul Graham ran Y Combinator, the most prestigious startup accelerator in the world. He'd rejected Airbnb multiple times. But when he heard about the cereal boxes, he called them. If you can convince people to pay $40 for a $3 box of cereal, you can probably convince people to stay in strangers' homes. January 2009. Y Combinator accepted Airbnb and gave them $20,000. It was the first time anyone had bet real money on them. At Y Combinator, Paul Graham gave them game-changing advice. Stop trying to scale. Go to your users. Understand why they're not booking. Brian and Joe flew to New York, the city with the most listings, but almost no bookings. They looked at the listings and immediately saw the problem. Terrible photos, messy apartments, bad lighting, phone cameras. Would you pay $100 to stay in a place that looked like that? They did something that didn't scale, went door to door with a professional camera, and took beautiful photos for free. Bookings in New York doubled overnight. Realized the problem wasn't the concept, it was the presentation. Revenue exploded. $200 per week became $1,000, then $5,000, then $10,000. In April 2009, Sequoia Capital, one of the firms that rejected them, invested $600,000. By 2010, Airbnb had one massive problem: trust. How do you get people to let strangers into their homes? How do you get travelers to sleep in houses they've never seen? Airbnb built verified photo IDs, secure payments, host and guest reviews, a $1 million property damage guarantee, and 24/7 support. They made it safer to stay in a stranger's home than to buy something on eBay. By 2011, they had 50,000 listings in 89 countries. Then disaster struck. Guests ransacked a host's home, causing $40,000 in damage. The story went viral. News outlets called Airbnb dangerous. This could have killed the company. Instead, Brian published a public apology, met with the host personally, and increased the guarantee to $1 million. The response saved Airbnb users. Saw the company actually cared about making things right. By 2012, they had over 200,000 listings, and were valued at $1.3 billion. The hotel industry suddenly realized they had a serious problem. From 2012 to 2020, Airbnb exploded. They expanded beyond air mattresses to entire homes, luxury villas, castles, tree houses, and yurts. By 2019, 7 million listings in 220 countries. 500 million guest arrivals, $31 billion valuation. Then COVID-19 hit. March 2020, global travel stopped. Airbnb's revenue dropped 80% in 8 weeks. They laid off 1,900 people. Everyone thought Airbnb was finished. But something unexpected happened. As lockdowns eased, people didn't want hotels. They wanted private spaces to work remotely and social distance safely. Long-term stays exploded. People were living anywhere, working from beach houses, mountain cabins, countryside cottages. Airbnb had accidentally built the perfect product for a pandemic world. December 2020, Airbnb went public at $47 billion, higher than Marriott, Hilton, and Hyatt combined. Today, worth over $75 billion. 1.5 billion guests hosted. $180 billion paid to hosts. 3 lessons from Airbnb's journey. 1. Desperation breeds innovation. The cereal boxes seemed ridiculous, but they kept Airbnb alive long enough to find their real business. Sometimes the weirdest ideas save you. 2. Do things that don't scale. Going door-to-door to take photos didn't scale, but it taught them exactly what users needed. Early success comes from deep understanding, not automation. 3. Build trust before scale. Trust is the foundation of any platform business. Airbnb could have grown faster by ignoring safety, but they wouldn't have survived their first crisis. Brian Chesky started with 3 air mattresses and a dream. He was rejected by every investor, printed cereal boxes to avoid bankruptcy. Today, he's proven that the best businesses come from solving your own problems and having the audacity to believe everyone else has the same problem too. The next time someone tells you your idea is crazy or the market is too competitive, remember, they said the same thing about 3 guys selling cereal boxes and renting air mattresses. What impossible idea are you not pursuing because everyone thinks it's crazy?